Today I am going to be talking about one free agent that every single MLB team needs to sign. Now, I am going to be somewhat realistic with this. Yes, if it were up to me and I was the GM of every single team and I had unlimited money, I would say every team needs to sign Shohei Ohtani because he's the best player. However, teams like Tampa or Cleveland or whoever, teams like that, they're not going to sign Shohei. So that's not who I'm going to say. Now, I also am not going to do any duplicates in this video. No duplicates. So if I say that somebody's going somewhere, they're not going somewhere else either. I am also not doing players re-signing because that's not fun. We're going to start out with the New York Yankees, and I think this is a pretty obvious one. The Yankees, they're going to have to land Cody Bellinger. They've struggled for a couple of years now finding a left-handed outfielder, and by a couple of years, I mean it's been a long time since they've had a really good left-handed outfielder. Their best one recently has been Brett Gardner, and he was not that great. So they really need to land an outfielder like Cody Bellinger. He can also play first base if Anthony Rizzo needs some off days, especially coming off of a neck injury and a concussion. But Cody Bellinger, that left-handed swing at Yankee Stadium, that would be impressive. That would be a very good signing for the Yankees. I know a lot of people are talking about the Yankees needing starting pitching. It's not as big of a need as an outfielder that can hit left-handed. Cody Bellinger's your guy, New York. Go out and get him. It is no surprise that the Boston Red Sox player is going to be a starting pitcher. However, which starting pitcher is it going to be? In my opinion, I think the Red Sox should be going after Japanese legend Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I think I pronounced that right. It might be wrong. Yamamoto is one of the most impressive Japanese pitchers. He's kind of advertised as similar to Kodai Senga, except a little bit better. And Kodai Senga just put up a hell of a rookie season for the Mets. He had over 200 strikeouts and just dominated a lot of players. Yamamoto's fastball sits in about the mid-90s, and he's got some good off-speed to go along with it. This is going to be one of the premier starting pitchers on the market, and for a team that's desperately needed starting pitching for a long time, I think Yamamoto's finally going to be their first big pitcher signing since Chris Sale. The next team I want to talk about is the Baltimore Orioles, and this one's a little bit weird, honestly. I don't think that people are going to have this guy on the Baltimore Orioles radar, except I think they kind of need him. I think the Orioles, to take the next step, need a villain type player, and that player to me is Trevor Bauer. Just like the Red Sox, they need starting pitching more than anything else. Their rotation was fine in the regular season, but their bullpen was pretty great and their offense was pretty great. So they really need to focus on starting pitching. I think Trevor Bauer will be a little cheaper than some of the other premier starting pitchers, even though Bauer just had an amazing season in the Japanese league. He's coming back to the MLB this offseason. I think he's going to be cheaper than he would have been if he played in the MLB. That's actually a definite, but I think he'll be pretty cheap, and I know that the Orioles don't want to spend money on somebody like Aaron Nola or Blake Snell, so maybe you can get like a 2-year deal with Trevor Bauer. I don't know, that'd be kind of scary. Baltimore would be really scary if they got a pitcher like Trevor Bauer. They should go out and do it. That owner needs to start spending some money. Moving on, we're going to be talking about the Tampa Bay Rays, and Tampa's tough because you know that they're not going to go out and get a free agent that's really good, but you know that they're going to go out and get a free agent that's not good and turn him into a superstar. So I think the best player I could see them signing is Alex Wood. He seems to fit that Tampa Bay pitcher motto. I don't really know what that means, but I don't even think that Tampa really knows what it means. He has like good pitches. He has funky release. That's what Tampa looks for, it feels like. So I feel like he might be cheap enough for Tampa to go after, and it would probably work pretty well. Alex Wood to Tampa wouldn't be the craziest signing that's ever happened, but it would help them, and they kind of need starting pitching with Shane McClanahan out for the whole 2024 season, and I think Jeffrey Springs is out for most of it too. So, I don't know, Alex Wood? Who knows? Maybe they go for somebody bigger like Aaron Nola, but probably not. They're the Tampa Bay Rays, so Alex Wood. And rounding out the AL East is the Toronto Blue Jays, and I believe that they also need another left-handed outfielder. They lost Kevin Kiermaier in free agency, and they do have Dalton Varsho, but I'm putting Jock Peterson. I think they need like a DH or a sometimes right fielder / left fielder to go play a couple of days out there, but they need a left-handed power threat, and they really haven't had one of those very much. They tried with Brandon Belt, it didn't really work out. They tried with Dalton Varsho, kind of worked out, but he's not really a power threat. So let's go on to Jock Peterson. We know he's going to hit some nukes. Let's go do it. So that's what I think the Toronto Blue Jays need, and that rounds out the AL East. So let's head on to the AL Central. Starting out with the Minnesota Twins. I could see the Twins going starting pitching for their biggest need. However, I think it's outfield, and I think it's right-handed hitting. So I think I'm going to go with Teoscar Hernandez for the Twins. This is a confusing team. They have a good amount of players everywhere, but like none of them are super elite in most positions. But I think their bullpen's pretty good. I think their rotation's still pretty good. Again, I'm not saying that they need to re-sign Sonny Gray for this, but they do need to re-sign Sonny Gray. But I think that they need a right-handed outfielder, especially if Byron Buxton is not going to be able to go and play in the outfield again this season. Teoscar Hernandez, I think, would be really good in Minnesota. The Cleveland Guardians are in a weird position, and I don't think they're in the position to go and spend big on a free agent, and I don't think that they're going to be looking for a multi-year deal. I think they know that they're about to kind of start a rebuild, but also not really, so they're like kind of on the fence. So with that being said, I think signing a veteran starting pitcher to help a lot of that young starting pitching core would be very beneficial for the Cleveland Guardians. And that pitcher, in my opinion, is James Paxton. He's coming off of a few injuries, so I think you could probably get him for a 1 to 2 year deal, maybe a 1-year deal with an opt-out, something like that. And I think he would help you develop a lot of your starting pitching prospects that are going to be starting to reach the MLB level. I know that you guys already have like Shane Bieber, but I don't know, just another veteran starting pitcher. I think that would help out a lot. Seems like a pretty good fit for me for Cleveland. The Tigers are in need of an ace. I know that they have Tariq Skubal and they have some other decent pitchers, but they lost Eduardo Rodriguez, and I think that they want to replace him with someone different. I'm going to say somebody like Marcus Stroman. It's kind of a weird one, I know, I'm accepting that, but I think that that would be a really good fit for the Tigers. Marcus Stroman is a contact pitcher. Comerica Park is huge, so he'll give up less home runs, and he already doesn't give up very many home runs, so it's kind of a good match for both of them. The Tigers were really close to kind of being contenders last year, so a pitcher like Marcus Stroman really might put them over the edge. I think that would be a great signing for the Tigers. The White Sox. I don't know. I don't think that the White Sox should sign anyone. When the White Sox sign people, it goes wrong. So I think they should just sign Joey Wendell and call it an offseason. That's what I put in my notes. I put Joey Wendell because I don't know any better. Who else would they sign? They don't, like, pitching isn't going to help them. Their offense is terrible. Their defense is terrible. Apart from Luis Robert, they're just terrible everywhere for the most part. I know that they have a good core, but I think they should trade that core away and they should just sign Joey Wendell to play shortstop or third base or second base. I don't care. It's the Chicago White Sox. I'm sorry, White Sox fans. It must be miserable. It must be terrible. I feel very bad, but Joey Wendell is the free agent that you need to sign. I don't know what to say about other than that. And finishing out the AL Central is the Kansas City Royals. Again, it's just like nothing's going to help them. Even if they signed Shohei Ohtani, they would not be a playoff team. So I just said sign Adam Ottavino, and hopefully you can trade him at the trade deadline. They did something similar with Aroldis Chapman this season, and they traded him to the Rangers, and then they got a few extra prospects. I think they should just do that with somebody like Adam Ottavino or one of those other relief pitchers. I think it's kind of a win-win for contenders and the Royals. Not really Adam Ottavino, except he does get traded to a contender, so it's kind of a win for Adam. Again, nothing's going to help them, so just try to bolster the farm system by making a signing for a relief pitcher. That would be my move. And the final division of the American League, we have the AL West, and I'm going to be starting out with the Houston Astros. The Astros still feel like a pretty complete team, even though they were not as good in 2023. I think it was more of a fluke season than anything else personally, but I think that they could get another bat or two, because that lineup, it just seems a little lacking. I said Jorge Soler. I'm not sure how well that would fit, especially if Yordan Alvarez continues playing left field, but if you can move Soler to left field and Yordan to DH, I think it would fit pretty well. They need a little bit more power in that lineup, in my opinion, especially if Alex Bregman is not going to like step up like he used to, because he kind of had a down season. So I don't know. In my opinion, I think Jorge Soler would do very well at Minute Maid. I think that's a pretty good match. I like it. Jorge Soler to the Astros. Who says no? The Rangers, coming off of their first World Series title, are they going to have a big offseason? Probably not huge, because they don't really need that much more, because they're going to have Scherzer coming back most likely. DeGrom might pitch again at some point this year. They're not losing too many pitchers. They're losing a couple, but it's not the end of the world who they are losing. So what could they go out and get? I think they should just go out and get Josh Hader. Get one of the best closers in the business, because he's just one of the best closers in the business. That's the reason why you should do it. He's elite. The Rangers bullpen was pretty terrible, although it was good in the playoffs, but they could really use a back-end relief pitcher, and there's no one better in the game than Josh Hader. He would make the Rangers even scarier than they already were. And they just won the World Series, so they're pretty scary. The Angels are in a similar situation to the Kansas City Royals, in my opinion. I think the Angels might move Trout this offseason. They're almost definitely losing Shohei Ohtani. Again, if I was saying what the Angels should do, they probably should try to extend Shohei Ohtani, but that's an extension, so I'm not counting that. So I just said sign Joe Kelly and try to trade him at the trade deadline like the Royals. They're not going to contend. They can't contend. They can't do anything. So what they should do is they should try to rebuild their farm system. It's the worst in MLB. They just need to fix something. So start by signing a cheap middle-end relief pitcher who can make a contender better come September. Just sign Joe Kelly, sign Adam Ottavino, sign Aroldis Chapman, somebody like that. But I just said Joe Kelly for this. It doesn't really matter who, just sign a relief pitcher that you can trade down the line. You need to start building that farm system back up, and this is one of the ways to do it. We've got a spicy one here with the Seattle Mariners. The biggest position that the Mariners need, in my opinion, is designated hitter. And well, there is a designated hitter who's not too bad, if I do say so myself. Mariners, go out and get Shohei Ohtani. They don't really need him as a pitcher for the most part, although they could trade one of their pitchers like Logan Gilbert and get a haul for that guy and then have an even better offense. And it's just like, that would be scary, especially when Ohtani comes back as a pitcher. But that team kind of needs a designated hitter. And again, Shohei Ohtani's pretty good at hitting. So if they could slot Shohei Ohtani into that lineup, that would be a concerning lineup. Him and Julio Rodriguez at the top of a lineup would be a nightmare to face. It'd be fun. I think that the Mariners should really try to get that and make that happen. Mariners land Shohei? Maybe. Who knows? Wouldn't be my prediction, but that's what they should do. And finally, the Oakland Athletics. Like the Royals, like the Angels, who cares what they do? They're not going to be good. So I just said Adam Duvall, maybe trade him at the deadline, but I feel like they need some bat somewhere to make fans somewhat willing to go and watch the games. Because the Angels right now have Mike Trout. The Royals have Bobby Witt Jr. I'm not going to watch an Oakland game to watch Brent Rooker. Now, I'm not necessarily going to an Oakland game to watch Adam Duvall either. However, adding a little bit more power and a little more bat to that lineup will not be the worst thing that could possibly happen. Adam Duvall might get a little bit less interest than he's expecting, so then maybe be forced to sign with Oakland, and then probably get traded at the trade deadline anyway. Who knows? Oakland cannot fix their season with one player or 5 players or 10 players. They would need a whole new roster to even contend. So it doesn't really matter. I just said Adam Duvall. Now, this video is getting long, so I am going to have to split this up into 2 parts. I really didn't want to, but it's just too long, so I am going to have to split this up. I think tomorrow the next episode should be out with all the NL teams and the players that they should sign. So if you did watch the end of this and you did enjoy, then please consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell. If you turn on the notification bell, you will be alerted for when the NL part of this video goes live, which again should be tomorrow, but in case it's not, it is nice to have post notifications on so you can see when I upload that video. And if part 2 is out, it'll be right here. And if it's not out yet, YouTube thinks you'll love this video, so why not check it out? Thanks for watching.